What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. Welcome back to our Red Dead Redemption community series. A community series that airs every single Thursday at noon Eastern Standard Time, leading up to Red Dead Redemption 2 releasing on October 26th. We're getting another week closer. We got a new gameplay video from the time that you guys are seeing this and the time that we're recording this. It was a couple days old, but it just recently came out. So we got a little bit more information about Red Dead. We're seeing more of it. We're seeing more of the world and more of the things that you can do. And so, last week, it's a little bit of a different topic this week, considering last week we talked about the game and discussing if it could actually be a bad game. And although there's still some things that are worrisome about the game, in this video we want to compare it a little, to talk about it, compare it to The Witcher 3, a game that, blew people's minds away when it actually released and still holds up insanely well and really is the benchmark of a lot of open world games nowadays. So we want to talk about the comparisons, but really we want to talk about the immersiveness of Red Dead Redemption 2, which is a lot of what we saw in the most recent gameplay trailer. So Tyler, like I said, last week we talked about some of the worrisome aspects of Red Dead. What's kind of changed this week in terms of what we saw, and comparing it to what The Witcher did when that game actually came out?
Like Alex said, last week we had some doubts. There's still a couple, little bit, for Red Dead Redemption 2. But now that I saw this second gameplay trailer, I actually started, I watched it a couple times, and then I watched it one more time before this, and there's actually a couple things in it, actually a lot of things, the whole video in a way, that now has, in a way, changed my mind, because now I'm seeing things a little bit differently. And what I've really noticed is how, so basically, when we look at games, and The Witcher 3, for me, that's the best video game I've played, still is. I have, there's a bar, and, that's, nothing has seemed to be able to pass that now. So, now I'm seeing Red Dead 2, and now I'm starting to think, you know what? Red Dead 2 might actually be able to do it, but here's the reason why. Although The Witcher 3, the world is incredible, you got the monsters, just the whole mythology with it, the different, lands, the different vocabulary, all that stuff is, that's why it makes The Witcher 3 for me so amazing. But remembering how The Witcher 3 plays and seeing how Red Dead 2 plays, I've actually noticed something that I actually prefer in Red Dead, and what that is that with Red Dead 2, it seems more almost not like a game. Because for me, looking back, and even comparing it to, Spider-Man, the one that just came out, and other games too, games currently are sort of things that, and this is obvious, that you just play. But what I mean by that is, you're just kind of controlling a character, going through the world, but you never actually are... You're never actually living out that experience. That's what it seems like. And now it seems more like that to me because of what I saw in Red Dead 2. For example, in The Witcher, I was trying to think how I interacted with the world. I remember if there was a body, I would go up to it, press a button, and then something would come up. But in the world, I actually don't even remember if there was something in a drawer, I don't even remember how that all went, which is a big deal because a lot of people, including myself, thought that, that was a pretty immersive world. But if I can't remember how I got items, that's not very immersive. Because I know in Fallout 4, you never see a hand, but you know that the drawer opens, and then I think something kind of comes out, but then what happens is a prompt comes on the screen and you can choose to take what you want. And then the drawer closes, again, no hand. So that's very Bethesda. But with Red Dead, what seems like will be taking place is you're playing a character who very much moves like a real person. And, he'll be, if there's something, he's going to open the drawer and probably take something out. It's just, and that kind of sounds dumb, but really it's not once I start, keep going. That's him interacting with the world. That's him being in the world. When a prompt comes up, that isn't being interactive with the world. It's kind of like you just press the button and here's what it is. It's like shortcuts. That's really what it is. And now to compare, there's one scene in the Red Dead 2 trailer or gameplay trailer where these two guys, I'm pretty sure it's two guys, they're on horses and they kind of come out of the woods and they kind of block the road. Then it shows, he's throwing the guy off the horse and this and that. But that seemed very much like a real life fight. Like if I was in that world and I went up and two guys came up in horses and blocked the road and, we were going to fight, it wouldn't be like this robotic thing where all of a sudden I get in this like battle stance and then they kind of get off their horse and then they get in a battle stance and then we're like going to like fight it out and the horses are just kind of like there or start running in circles. That's a video game. I'm almost getting to the point where I'm not getting sick of video games, but I kind of, it's like, are we going to ever change? Now that I saw Red Dead, what happened is there isn't a battle stance. You can either run away, maybe you call your horse and you can run away and they're going to chase you, whatever, but looks very like real life, or you can run up to them and rip them off their horse and you start beating the crap out of them and maybe the other guy jumps off his horse, grabs you. It becomes an actual fight, something that you would probably see. No battle stance is needed. To me, that's being part of the world. That's experiencing the world. Now, last week, I was kind of complaining about, and I guess, and again, I changed my mind on it in a way, because I was thinking very much of like, well, compared to video games, why would I sit at a campfire listening to stories? Now, in this trailer, we saw there's a scene where he's like dancing with this lady. And when I first saw it, I'm like, why would I take the time to dance with this girl? Go sit down or whatever, start eating food. Why do I want to do that? It's a video game. Now I'm starting to change my mind, because if I could go back to The Witcher 3 and they said, you know what, we're redoing The Witcher 3, or just this is how it came out in the first place, where The Witcher 3 is going to be very immersive. You're going to be Geralt, and you will go around. You will live. You're not going to be robot Geralt, who does. Everything's kind of stiff in that game. It's going to be much more fluid. It's going to be much more real life. You're going to be able to eat food. He's going to need. Maybe you need food to regain your health or whatever. Something, I don't know. You're going to have to do that kind of stuff. You're going to want to do that kind of stuff. You're going to want to go into this little pub or whatever, because then every person in that pub, let's say that you're getting food, you're waiting for your food, you can go up to every single person in there and actually interact with them, where they're going to tell you something. Maybe somebody tells you a little bit of information. Maybe somebody tells you something useless, but you're actually interacting with them. Not where in video games you go up to somebody, they never even look at you, and then you just see, maybe you have the subtitles on, and they're just talking straight forward at whoever they're looking at. And, the little writing on the bottom, because it's not a story subtitle, so the little writing comes up. And it never means anything. That's not interacting. That's not being part of the world. In Red Dead 2, you can interact with every single person that you see. To me, that's a big deal. That makes me kind of want to go and get food and do that kind of stuff, because I don't know what's going to happen in that location when I do that. I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe I'm getting a beer or I'm getting a drink or whatever. And then the person next to me tells me this thing, and then it could make me $2,000 of loot or whatever. I don't know. That kind of stuff doesn't usually happen in video games because they're more of like a simulation. Now that I'm seeing Red Dead 2, it doesn't appear to be like a simulation. It appears to me to be more of like, here's the Wild West, and here's your chance to literally live out that Wild West experience. That's what it's like. So now I've kind of changed my tune, and now I'm kind of seeing that something like The Witcher 3 wasn't really immersive like I thought. No, it wasn't. It's still an amazing game. For sure, it's still an amazing game. It still might even be better than Red Dead 2. I don't know. But what I do know is that if Red Dead 2 is what it appears to be, where it's going to literally be you're experiencing the life of somebody in the Wild West, I think we're going to be seeing more games do something similar to that, and we're going to be seeing things that in games that you might say to yourself, why would I do that? But in a way, because it kind of slows down the pace. But I think I'm going to prefer that, because video games do need some kind of change. That's why I'm starting to like these more story-oriented games in the first place, because they are better. Because games are starting to all kind of feel the same. So then when you have a game like God of War, it stands out. Even Spider-Man, the story's, really, really good. So it stands out. But with Red Dead, I think what's going to stand out is when I'm playing it, it's going to be the closest thing to me being in the Wild West, hundreds of years ago. And that, to me, that's like really awesome. So I'm actually really looking forward to it, and I'm sort of looking forward to seeing how this game sort of changes, or like I'm curious to see like what games will take note of what they're doing and they implement it, because this kind of thing could really. And again, I'm not like a Rockstar fan. Trust me. Like out of all of them, I'm like the least favorite, or Rockstar is like my least favorite. But the chance that they actually do something where they change video games for the better, it might actually be pretty high, based on what I'm seeing and how I'm interpreting this game.
It's very interesting for sure, and the opinion on it seems to flip every single time that we see it. Not just from us, but we still see some conflicting reports online. But as we get closer to the game, it does seem like it's definitely positive, and those are the kind of things, the immersiveness and how much you're actually doing in the game, and all the smaller details. Although it still kind of has some questions for the story. What's the actual game? What's the main chunk that you're going to be doing in terms of the storytelling going to be like? But it seems like people are definitely taking notice to all these smaller things, and it does, especially when they put them into these gameplay trailers. It really shows off the game and shows a different dynamic to the game, and Rockstar really is one of the few that, and a pioneer of the ones that actually take those steps. We saw it with GTA 5, and we're seeing it with a different lens with Red Dead 2. So it'll be very interesting. We got 2 more topics coming up on Red Dead Redemption 2. These community series videos go up every single Thursday. So next Thursday, we'll have a brand new video. Make sure you leave in the comments below anything you want us to talk about or any opinions you have on what we talked about today. We'll be having Red Dead Redemption 2 content once the game comes out. We'll be having a giveaway, videos on it, and then once the Red Dead Redemption Online comes out, we'll be talking about that, and we'll be doing videos on that as well. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you on next week's video.